custom window blinds for that window because it's only half a window. All kinds of different issues. The most obvious is the visual aspects, which again, as you go to the other side of the atrium and look across, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So we want to line up things with window mullions where we can. So this drawing is showing you kind of what the end result is going to look like. We also have one for the second floor. There are some detail drawings, and these are taken right out of the book. So if you have the book, you can look in chapter 6 and find these. They're showing some dimensions and things that you're going to need. And I don't think I have to go through all of them. One thing we're going to look at today before you start working is room separations. Room separations in Revit are a little different than drawing walls. Last time we put in room names into rooms. Click, and now we have a room name number. We can. What you need to remember with Revit is it's an all-encompassing living creature sort of thing. This room is not just these four walls. It includes the floor and the ceiling and all the air in between. So think of this room, when we click on this, think of it as a three-dimensional volume. So it's like a rectangular cube. It fills the whole room. Okay? Sometimes we have areas that don't have all four walls. For instance, in this building at the end of the hall down by the vending machines, there's a seating area at the end of the hall. Maybe we want to designate that on the drawing as a seating area so we can show we've got this many square feet of seating, but there's no wall. So if we were to try to put that down at the end of the hall, it's going to be the whole room. Okay? So what we can do to fix that is, let's say this is our seating area. Right underneath the room tag is room separator. Okay? Now generally, the room separator for this room is a wall. It separates one room from the other. If we don't have walls, we can put in a room separator. It's a separate entity, and all it's going to look like is a line. Okay? There's my room separators right here and right here. I missed, I should have been on the column center line. But what that allows me to do is when I go to tag a room, it sees that as one space. Okay? Another area that you're going to be doing or using that on our project today is cubicles. You want to designate this as somebody's cubicle, and this is, so we can keep track of how many cubicles we have, how many square feet of cubicles, all those things. But they're not full height walls. They don't go up to the ceiling. So on a floor plan where you're showing the permanent built-in objects, we wouldn't show the cubicles. So those room separators allow us to divide out that area. Okay, so on this drawing, you'll see them as dashed lines. Our drawing, they'll come out as solid. But it's showing you room separations that you'll have to put in before you tag the rooms. Okay, that makes sense? And again, that's a three-dimensional space in reality. If you make a mistake and you decide to get rid of them, if I click on this and I delete it, it hasn't deleted the room, it's just deleted the tag, the room volume. That's why this is showing as orange, and there's a warning down here. The room still exists. The three-dimensional cube still is there. You can go back and you can delete it again, and that will take it out. You also can delete it from the schedule. Because now it's not in here. It will, if you don't delete it that second time, it will still show up in the schedule. So if you put a room in and then, oops, I made a mistake, and you delete the tag, put another room in, oops, that's not right, delete it, put another room in, oops, the wall's in the wrong place, you put another room in, you're going to have 4 rooms show up on your room schedule. Okay, so you need to make sure you delete that volume that we're not seeing when you put the room tag in. Okay, and the reason for that volume, if we were just using AutoCAD, this would just be, if you took the 117 class, there would be attributes. It doesn't define anything about the room, it's just a label. we could take a label maker and just stick a label on a drawing and it would accomplish the same thing. In Revit, it's grabbing the whole room. Okay, so try to keep that in mind. All right, so back to here. This is sort of where you're going to start. We're just going to use generic walls. We're not going to use. We're not going to worry about what types of walls. We're going to deal with that in coming projects. Okay. So start with this. Again, line up some of the. This wall lines up with this wall, and it lines up with this wall. So you can use some of the clues. You're going to have to do a little detective work on some of it. When you put doors in, the doors are going to be, like on your last assignment, they're going to be 4 inches off of the wall. Okay? If a door is not 4 inches off of a wall like this, you can make some assumptions. Where do you think this door is going to be located?
Center to those other 2 walls that are above it.
Right, along the midpoint of the wall. Okay? Some of them are not going to be quite so obvious, like this one is not on the center. If you look on that conceptual drawing, there's some bookshelves behind the door. So they pulled the door out a little bit.
Okay.
So use all the drawings together. Now I do have to complain about one thing on here, because what would it be if I wasn't complaining about something? They did the stupidest thing on here. I'm really curious why. What floor do you think room 263 is on?
A second.
This is the first floor drawing.
Oh.
All the room names are in the 200s. I don't know what the logic would be to ever do that. At the beginning of the semester, there are students standing in the hall like this. And I asked them if I can help them. I said, yeah, can you tell me where room 146 is? Well, go downstairs to start with. So it's hard enough finding the right floor based on a room number, but to have them all be the same 200s doesn't make any sense. Right? So you're going to have to be a little careful about that. When you look at a drawing, don't assume that it's the second floor based on the 200s. Okay? All right. These room tags are showing the area. We had some mix-up with that, mainly because of me, last week. If you put in a room number, if you go over to the properties panel on the room tag, you've got room tag with area, and room tag with volume. We just want room tag with area. And that will show the area of the room as well. Okay? The volume is for mechanical engineers. They need to know how many cubic feet of air is in a room, because they need to exhaust so many cubic feet per minute and put in so many cubic feet per minute. So the cubic volume of the room is very important to them. All right? Everybody good?
Great.
All right. Looking at the assignment, it's pretty much what I just talked about. Electronic copy of drawing is due at the beginning of the next class. I think that will be okay. It may not be, so I may change that depending on how things go today. Okay? With letter size plots of level 1 plan and level 2 plan. Printed fit to paper. You need to have your name, IND 220 and spring 2017 on each page. We're going to use walls, doors, windows. Actually, not even windows. The room and dimension tools, which you used on your last project, so this is kind of reinforcing that. As I said, the files in the reference drawing, menu item in Blackboard. We're going to use generic walls, 36 by 84 single doors, and 72 by 84 double doors. Okay? You can put in room and area elements in the rooms and spaces indicated. The walls will be centered on columns, center lines, centered on mullions, or they're dimensioned in that concept plan. And you are going to have, it says may have to work, you are going to have to go back and forth between several sheets to find the locations and dimensions. Like I said, you have to do a little detective work. I talked about the doors, and I talked about the room separators. Okay? I'm thinking I am gonna have to change the due date on this, because it is quite a bit more, involved in the drawing you did last week, and there's 2 floors. So don't freak out about that date. I'll see how things are going later on today.
It's over spring break then.
So don't hurry, right?
Don't hurry.
But it's over spring break then, so that,
Next week would be spring break, so if I let you work on it in class next week, if you finish it, you're done. If you don't finish it, you'll have spring break to work on it, because I know you want nothing better to do.
exactly.
Definitely don't
I'll
hurry.
take my computer, this right with me, I'm gonna bring
That one right there?
exactly.
They won't mind.
That'd be kind of, no, they won't notice they're on spring break.
Yeah.
That actually raises the question, I don't know what would happen if you remove these.
I-
Because I think it goes to the server to check the licenses for the software.
Okay, so I
Even though the
wouldn't be
software
able
may
to.
be loaded on here, I don't
Yeah.
think it'd let you.
I would not do that.
Yes, you would.
Well, if I put that magazine
I've seen the
in.
books you put in your projects, you would do that.
I know.
That was so funny, I thought you were gonna explode with stuff.
Oh, well, it just all goes to my childhood, you know.
It's hysterical.
Okay.
So focusing on level 1 first.
Start level 1, and work your way up.
Okay, I'm gonna print my stuff in.
I'm printing, I just started printing now.
That brings up something, maybe you could print out the finished plans, and then some of them are just details showing little tiny bits. Maybe you don't print those out. Just a thought.
Oh, yeah, yeah.